for that would be used for like professional movies, where it just like builds a city, it builds a country, like down to the foot, and then being able to recreate that and pull that into Talespire via like these biomes, and he can make the maps as big as you want to make them.
Yeah.
And so the transition between these 2D maps, if you can get a what do they call it? If you can make your 2D map, if you can throw a height map on top of it, which depending on the grayscale tells his program how high it should be, he could just have his program generate all of Greyhawk.
Yeah, that's wow, super cool.
And it would just our computers aren't strong enough to do that now. But I mean, it's down to he has trees, and you'll see when you see Yester Hill. But
okay,
the capacity for that type of thing is advancing really fast.
Yeah, wow, very cool. Well, hello everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're going to get started here in just a couple of moments. I take it everything should be worked out with the gremlin that we had last night. I have squashed him. So Heimdall said he hears us. Pat, Jeff, Amanda,
there. Hey,
you guys hearing us okay? Yay, loud and clear. Good. I'm loving my new LMA starting soon screen. Cool little dragon. Thank you very much for the sub, John. And hey, good to see you, Phantom.
Year and a half. It's been a year and a half.
Yeah, I know. Crazy, huh? Thank you, Jay Birchfield 3. Good to see you as well. Hey, Sam. Welcome. So you all notice we've got now pretty much on all of our views, we've got the chat up as well, so it's preserved when it goes out to YouTube. That was a frequent request that we got, because when people watch the VOD, it's fine, but when they watch it on YouTube, you lose the chat, and the chat is such an active part of Blue Box. So now we have that on the screen. Hey, Toriano, good to see you. Should have a fun conversation tonight. Robert's going to pop in here in just a minute, and then we'll click over live on video. We have a vice president on with us tonight, right, John?
Yeah.
Congrats on the new job.
Thanks.
Hey, Josh, good to see you this evening, my friend. Well, where is Robert? Good evening, Tracy. Well, it's been a busy week, that's for sure. All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to kick us live on video, and Robert can just join us in progress. I'll have to switch between two different screens, but I think I can get that to work. We won't have the ninja up on the first screen, so we'll get to that as soon as Robert gets in here. Thank you very much, Jay. And here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Welcome, and Blue Box, great to be here with you. We're going to have to go to, I got to re-add that Zoom. Hang on here, we'll get that. Just 1 second.
Hiding.
What's that?
I said we're hiding.
Yeah, we're hiding. No, it's because I was going to go with the 3 view today, and since Robert's not on, I've got to go with the 2. Dun, 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 dun. No humans on screen. Yes, we'll get that. 1 second. Theater of the mind. Yes. No, that's not the plan here. Hang on. Let me switch the screen capture. And there we go. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and I'll put that right there, and we'll just run it like this until Robert gets in. That way I don't have to mess with all the windows again. But I am joined tonight by John Fuller, Demon Gund. You know him, and he's been a longtime friend of our show. Actually helped us run a one-shot here at Virtual Greyhawk Con, and he was the master of the tool, Talespire, and ran everything in the background for us. And John, as always, good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So tonight we're going to be talking about Talespire, but also really focusing on House of Strahd, the Talespire build that you created, which is it's pretty incredible. You've built the entire structure for all of House of Strahd, and we're going to look at that and also look at some of the other tools that you're working with. So, John, thank you again for joining us, and here's Robert.
Give it a second for...
Yeah, there we go. Hey, Rob. Good to see you, my friend. He's connecting to audio. Boom, now we're back in business. All right, so, John, just tell us what you've been up to lately with you got a Kickstarter. How did that go, and some of the builds you've been working on, and get us updated.
Sure. I mean, so you've probably all heard me say it like 100 times now. We had our Kickstarter to make Curse of Strahd maps back in April. It was successful, and we've had all sorts of professionals in the community building the maps ever since. And it's still, we're trudging right along. I think the only thing left at this point, we just published Yesterhill by Baldrax. The only thing left is our Gunvisholt and Castle Ravenloft, which are pretty massive. They're both, our Gunvisholt's just waiting on me to do some game-ready stuff with hide volumes, and Castle Ravenloft, I think they're into the dungeons and they're just doing some final detail. I don't think we're going to hit our expected delivery date for Castle Ravenloft of the end of October, but a lot of Kickstarters go like a year past when they were expected, and we're going to be like maybe 2 or 3 weeks out. So we still feel pretty good about that.
Outstanding. No, there you go. And Robert's still connecting to audio. It looks like he's having some sort of audio challenge. I guess that's it's in the air these days. I'm going to switch over here so that we can see your screen. I've got the Ninja up, and we've only got an hour, so let's jump into it, John.
Okay, we got to go fast. So if you've seen me on stream, I almost always start with a notepad document. Too many of them. I have a problem with notepad documents. So tonight, John asked me to do a couple things to kind of go over any must-have plugin. My chair's rolling around. It's moving me in your... asked me to go over a couple of really high-impact plugins. So I have a list of those. I can do a really, really quick demo of the Asset Replacer at Tales Tavern. And then I think there might have been a miscommunication. You wanted me to go in-depth on the new version of Death House. And I actually prepared kind of a demo of all of them.
Do whatever you want, John. Do whatever you want.
And just to I just want to let people know the scope of what we've built coming out of that Kickstarter, and actually the year of work that I had put in even before the Kickstarter. And so it's kind of up to your viewers. Do you want to look at the plugins first, or do you want to look at the Talespire maps, or do you want to look at the Asset Replacer?
What do you think, Robert? I'll let you make the call.
Yep.
Can you hear us, Robert? No, we're not hearing you. That's so funny. Last night we had anyway. Let's start with. I'll let you pick, John. Either any of them.
Okay, I think I'm going to pick what everybody wants, and that's custom tokens in vanilla Talespire. This is getting custom tokens into Talespire without the need of plugins. And I think that will honestly change the lives of a bunch of people. And so I want to give some shout outs here to HollowFox, who's a modder, as well as Lord Ashes, SimCity, who's going to have some stuff in here as well. And they basically cracked the code on Tailweaver early, is what has happened. So they've created some assets that are following the correct Tailweaver protocols to get into Talespire. And so I'm going to do a little bit of a demo, going from absolutely nothing, like you've never done plugins or anything before, and walk you through what it would take to get your players to be able to add custom tokens
Okay.
without the need. So first up, if you haven't done this before, you should. Thunderstore.io. This is where you're going to find your plugins. You can go to communities here, you'll find Talespire, but what you're looking for is R2 Modman. This plugin here. I actually have a video tutorial on how to do this. If you Google, YouTube Talespire setup plugins, you'll find it. So first up, you're going to download this, you're going to install it on your computer, and then you're going to run it. That's part one. And what that's going to do is it's going to give you this program where you can select your game. And let me know if I'm going too fast for folks.
No, I think it's fine, and I have all this installed already, and it's been super easy. Once you have it installed, it automatically keeps everything updated for you. So if there are any updates to any of the mods, it'll prompt you, it'll keep them updated, and it lets you launch in either modded or vanilla mode, which is also super helpful.
Mm-hmm. So you go to your game here.
Yep, we got you, Robert.
And so you're going to have a list of profiles here. So depending on what you're doing, you can have different plugin profiles. So like if I'm playing with Heim, who doesn't really use plugins, I'm going to use this profile that doesn't have any plugins going on. So I'm just going to create a new one, RPG, I don't know, today, doesn't really matter. Oh, wait.
Vanilla mod sounds like a way to order pie.
Yeah, vanilla mod. I've already forgot what I freaking named it. Oh my gosh. Oh, here we go. It's at the bottom. Okay, so I came here, I created a new profile. That's the gist of this. So I select the profile and there's nothing installed. And so in the beginning, what you're going to need is the custom asset library plugin. So you just look it up. Custom asset. I think it's the one with underscores. Custom asset library plugin. Download it. And this is going to get all the dependencies for getting custom assets and stuff in. We're going to go get some token packs. SimCity's Curse of Strahd pack. That's kind of my MO. So he has a plugin here that's actually a collection of a bunch of other plugins. So I'm just going to grab that. And it's going to download them all. And see, it got, there's a cool one that's Irina. There's like a Strahd zombie one. Some other, the monster packs. I think there's like the Amber Golem, a couple other things. So now we've got them all. So we need to start Talespire via R2 Modman. And what's going to happen is you're going to notice this noise. So this is basically our plugin command line that's doing its thing. It's taking all of the files and putting them where they need to go in the file system so that when you start up Talespire, your plugins can run. We just had to do this once so that it put everything where it needed to go. Once it's finished, we quit out. Actually, I should demonstrate that they're actually there, right? Blue box plugins. Submit. Play.
Robert, how's the dog tonight?
He's all right. He's relaxing.
That's what dogs are good for.
Okay, so in here at the bottom, down at the bottom, you're going to see some categories of tokens, but you'll recognize them, like you'll recognize elf and human. So any category that has new assets added to it is going to show up down here. So in constructs, SimCity made a really cool animated armor, right? This is like the animated armor in Death House, spoilers, as well as like several other places in the campaign. And these custom assets work with like changing sizes and stuff too. And I think Irina's in human. Maybe she's around here somewhere. She might have her own. This is a custom one too. Creepy fortune teller. All kinds of stuff. Okay, so we've demonstrated. We have these. We installed them, and we're currently running via R2 Modman. So we're going to quit out. Now, we did this as the GM. with our plugins, and now we have players who we want to see these custom tokens, but we don't want to walk them through the whole process of installing all this stuff. So what you need to do is in Talespire, okay, so from R2Modman, it has placed these files in our plugin profile directory. So the one that I made, the Blue Box RPG today. So what we do is we go to the where is it? Settings, and then there's this folder that's Browse Profile folder. And the profile folder is where it's going to have all of our information from our plugins. And this again, the profile folders are so that you can have multiple profiles with different batches of plugins. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab all of the ones that have tokens, Strahd Zombie, Irina, all these monsters here. This one is just the plugin pack. It doesn't actually have any tokens in it.
Okay.
I'm going to take those and I'm going to copy them. Now we're going to go to our normal Talespire directory on our systems. That's not the R2Modman profile stuff. The easiest way to get here is to go to Talespire. You go to the gear, and you can. This is what you'll need to walk your players through. Go to the gear, go to manage, browse local files. In here, and it should pop them right where they need to go. There's a Tailweaver folder. When you double click this, it's going to have two folders in here that have GUIDs as the file names. One of these is fantasy, one of these is the sci-fi cyberpunk. So this is where you would find folders that have these asset packs in them, right? So now what we do is we paste our folders in here. But now we need to update the folders to match this standard where the name is the GUID. Each one of these plugin packs, thankfully, I don't even know if you can read it because my screen is so freaking tiny. Like view large icons or something. Large icons. I don't think that helps anybody. Can any of you even read what's happening over here on the left?
Not really.
Not really.
No, dang it. How do I zoom in? Oh, that's unfortunate. I should know how to do the magnifying glass thing. Anyway, I think you can kind of at least see
Yeah, we get the idea.
Read the words. You can see the shape of them, right? So in each of these, there's going to be an asset pack ID file, or there's going to be like a index.json file. The goal here is to replace this file name with its GUID. And so what you do is, so we're going to go to the first one, asset pack ID. I go to edit in Notepad++, but you could open it in whatever text editor you want. And then we have this mystical, magical GUID right here. It's just an ID. So all I'm going to do is copy that, go over here, rename my folder, paste it, and click. Then I'm going to go to the next one. Exact same thing. Go in, get the asset ID, copy it, go back, rename the folder. And so you just repeat this. And what's nice is that if you are the GM and you go through the trouble of doing this, you can then just kind of bundle up these directories, put them in a zip file for your players, and just tell your players, unzip this in your Tailweaver directory, and they're done. So it's not hard, it's just kind of mind-numbing.
Yeah, just several steps, but nothing terribly difficult.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Thank you for showing us that.
The most difficult part is Notepad here.
Robert, were you going to say something?
I was going to say, no, this is this information is written out, and we have a file or instructions or.
There's actually a video from
this?
Lord Ashes that walks you through this,
Okay.
and I'll probably post my notes to the chat somewhere. I'll put them online or something.
Yeah, well, if you go into our, we have a Lore Masters Arcanum channel in our Discord. That'd be a great place for you to pop that, and then links to the videos and whatnot. That way people can find it there.
Yeah, and so now that we've gone in, we've copied and pasted our tokens into our local computer Talespire Tailweaver directory. We rename the directories. So now I'm going to go ahead and actually close R2Modman. And so just like your players would do, your players are going to fire up vanilla Talespire using Steam.
Right.
They're not going to be using R2Modman. Yes, we do need... Oh, man. My list of like, dude, will you make a video for that is it's so long.
Thank you for the follow, Fate of the Dice and Rose Tyler 21 as well. We're honing in on 2,000 followers, which is a pretty cool milestone.
2,000? Jeez. Okay. We are currently in unmodded Talespire. And we have some creatures in here. We have the Strahd zombie. We have these two are in there. And actually the other ones might have been added. So actually, added benefit, they no longer make the category down at the bottom. They're all in line. So like here's our Irina token, and it's actually in the human category, not kind of down by itself.
Yeah.
Because Talespire now thinks that they are official tokens. And thankfully, an awesome job on Bouncy Rock's part, with the inclusion of the Hero Forge stuff, they had to take into account a weird state where one person would place down a token that someone else didn't have. And so you know how we got that kind of like weird, the like ghost person? So if someone places a token that someone else doesn't have, it'll just do that. It won't like throw an error. It won't freak out. It'll just have the little ghost person.
Got it.
That's it. That's it. And you just send your zip file to your friends. You really, it opens up all of the token packs at Thunderstore, for which there are a lot. A lot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. And that's it, folks.
Very cool.
That is getting vanilla tokens into, tokens into vanilla Talespire.
And Anna B. Meyer appreciated the nerdiness of this.
Yeah, this is really, it's designed for like the GMs who are slightly more technically inclined than the players. But even then, you don't have to be super technical. Like, get R2Modman, install the plugins, copy paste a couple folders, copy paste the GUIDs, and you're done. There's no like going through JavaScript or config files or anything like that. Oh, I didn't see there's like tarot cards on this table. Dude, SimCity is so cool. He's such a good modeler.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
That's part one.
Okay.
Any questions before I launch immediately?
No, but in the chat, if you have any questions for John, as he's going to be moving quickly through some other things here. That's a neat and handy little option there where you can get these custom models in for your players quite easily, running the vanilla version. So fantastic.
Let me see. He did get the Amber Golem. I don't see the. I didn't get the Amber Golem, but there's some really cool ones. Does Strahd count as undead? What? I don't remember what token.
He should.
I mean, that would be pretty logical.
I don't know where he is. There's a Strahd zombie. There's a plant. What is this?
That's cool.
Tree. And then there's Babalastaga's Flying Skull. Yeah. That's a good one. I didn't realize he made that. Okay, anyway. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete these. And be very careful here. I just happen to know which of these are the official folders not to delete. Don't accidentally. Actually, if you do, you might just be able to do like the Steam validate files or something if you screw it up. All right, next up. This one's much more straightforward. And again, I'm going to start from absolutely nothing. So I'm just going to start up R2Modman, go to Talespire. We're going to create a new profile. This one's going to be, I want to put it all caps so I know what's going on. Monster stats. This one, way more straightforward. It's Monster Stats by Lord Ashes. And for all of these, I highly recommend like going and read the documentation. Like go read it. And do not go to the Talespire modding Discord and ask questions if you have not. You'll have a bad time. I mean, it's the thing is, people have to understand is like all of the modders and all of this stuff is absolutely free and out of the kindness of their heart and as a hobby. And as a hobby, it's a lot more fun, I think, for them to like make something and then keep making new cool things that they want to work on. Like to go back and actually do the maintenance and stuff, it's like using your spare time to go back and do something. It's more like work. And so you kind of need to meet them halfway. Like do your due diligence first, before you go there. Just to be fair to them.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Because some people go in there and they're like, your documentation should be perfect. If it were mine, I'd make it perfect. And it's like, well, it was free. Like, what do you expect?
Right.
Be happy that you have something that is even like halfway jank. Okay, so this one is a lot more straightforward. What this plugin does is if you have a token and you click it and you place it and you hold Alt when you place it, it's going to go out to Roll20 SRD and be like, hey, is this a skeleton? Is this a tribal warrior? Is this a warhorse skeleton? And if I click skeleton, it's going to automatically assign its attributes in here. And right now, I mean, I don't have them defined, but
right.
All of its stats. Oh, I do have to name them. See, I didn't go follow the documentation. I should have done that. We can do it together. I gotta go to Talespire.
Go ahead and pop any questions in the chat if anybody has anything you'd like to ask John, and he can address or show us anything you guys would like to see.
And so when you place it, it's going to place your stats where it recognizes them. So like this has got to be, I think it's just AC, speed, strength, dex, on. Is charisma. Okay, and now that that's set, it should actually behave itself when it gets placed. Hold Alt. It's going to look it up. I say that it's a skeleton. Theoretically, cross your fingers. Ah, look, we've got hit points, and we've got all of its stats. I can zoom in if everybody see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very cool.
And nice. So he has kind of a base mapping between the Talespire names and the Roll20 SRD names. But say this wasn't a skeleton. Say this was like a lich. What you would need to do is rename it to like lich, right? Rename it. The thing is, it won't then work to hold Alt and place it. It won't go do the lookup. So to trigger the lookup again, you have to copy it, hold Alt, then place it. The lookup will only happen the first time a token is placed on the board. And in this case, it found Lich. It didn't ask me any questions. 135 hit points. Here's all my stats.
Interesting.
And that's it. And it'll do it for like a whole bunch of stuff. And in the configs, you can set your own. You can do all this other stuff too. The way that he created it, I think it just goes out to... Does it go to... Yeah, it goes to Roll20 SRD right now. But he's written it in such a way that another developer could come along and create a new source for it from wherever. Like if someone makes their own database, like we've even thought about doing it internally, like creating our own database to be a new source.
Right.
D&D Beyond could be a new source. So it's very extensible. But yeah, so if you've got a goblin and you need to make 30 goblins, let's place this thing. Oops, reveal it. Let's try renaming it. Wow, okay. Make it not... I'm rusty. Goblin, right? Copy, paste it. And actually, goblin, there's a lot of goblins. Oh, there's goblin and hobgoblin. So click it, gives it its stats. You're done. Okay. Any question on that one?
No, I don't think so. It's pretty straightforward. Like you said, it's easy to do. Yeah, and all this stuff you can find. You've got the link for thunderstore.io. R2 Modman is what you kick off to run any of the mods. And then you've got Tales Tavern. That's where a lot of the slabs and boards are. Don, Mad Wizard in our Discord. He's actually going to be playing with us on Friday night for our one-shot with Mike Disney Return to the Patch. And he hosts the site Tales Tavern where you can get these slabs and boards as well.
Okay. Oh, hey, Udi. Udi's here. Is there a place aside from Hero Forge we can create custom characters? Here's the catch there. You can create your custom stuff at Hero Forge. And actually there's a lot of walkthroughs online for how to convert your existing Hero Forge tokens into custom tokens and then import them without having to like rebuy the whole like integration version or whatever. Eldritch Foundry is a site, but it won't paint them for you. There's nowhere that I'm aware of that will let you paint the color in like Hero Forge. What you might do is if you make a bunch of stuff at Eldritch Foundry, go to Fiverr and pay someone from Fiverr $20 to like paint all your tokens for you. There's lots of places to get unpainted tokens, not many to get ones that are painted.
Yeah, and I use that Talespire Hero Forge integration all the time, and they have the I think it's their Pro Plus whatever download version. It's not cheap; it's like $179 a year, but it includes I think 70 or something download credits. So whenever my players, like for example Friday night, all of my players have made tokens for their minis in Hero Forge, and they just send me the link. I download it into my Hero Forge and then pop it right into my Talespire. And yeah, the models are great. They're colored well. Everything is super easy to do.
The Hero Forge ones don't currently have animations or anything either. My guess is that in the next year or so, there's going to be more services like Hero Forge coming up.
Yeah.
I think they were just super ahead of the curve, and they've got such a massive market share right now that it's tough to compete with them. Okay, so that was how much time do we have? We have 30 minutes. I think I was going to show everybody the Portraits plugin. It's really cool. It lets you place a portrait. I can do it. Watch this. So for this one, you actually need a couple of plugins. This is kind of where it's like weird with dependencies. In order for portraits to really work, you need the Hide Base plugin. You need the Retexture plugin. And Retexture is weird. Retexture, you could retexture walls to have different textures if you wanted. And you need chat services. This one's a little bit more complicated. This is not one that would work if your players didn't also have the plugin. I mean, maybe it would work, but it's kind of a pain. But I wanted to show you because it's kind of cool and fancy.
Okay.
And then I actually need the portrait plugin itself, Portrait Pack by SimCity. This one's super fast. So what this lets us do, theoretically, is we can place one of SimCity's special tokens that's a portrait, and then we can put whatever we want in that portrait. And this is really cool because you could do like a overworld map and actually put it on a table. You could have pictures on the wall, and I think it really allows for. Oh, I'm running vanilla. No, I'm not. They're not going to find portraits.
While he's pulling that up, I want to say thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. And we will be back on Friday night with Return to the Patch, which is our one-shot with Art of Mike Disney. We've got Robert is going to be with us, Vivi, Don, who I've already referenced, and Pat Draws. So it'll be a fun crew. We'll kick off at 5:30 on Friday night, and it'll probably be a good 4-hour stream, and it's going to be the follow-up to last year's one-shot where the party was TPK'd with the exception of one Sir Finn who bravely ran away. And so we are now 1 year later. Finn is returning to the scene of his previous defeat and seeking help, new comrades, since he lost his old ones, to help him finish what he could not finish last year. So that's going to be a fun one-shot on Friday night.
Okay, I'm just going to abandon that one. It's fine.
Okay.
I tried to get it to squeeze it in, but it just didn't quite happen.
No worries.
Okay. So I wanted to give folks just a really super fast review of the recent builds that we have done. Or by we, I mean I didn't do anything. Well, a little bit, but primarily it's other people. So this is what I was mentioning about Yester Hill. I don't know if you've seen this.
I have, yes.
In all of its glory. This is a map done by Baldrax. We just published it just a few days ago. But this, I think this is a pretty prime example of Talespire's potential as far as using tools to actually let me get rid of isolated red so we can just kind of see what's going on here. Using tools to generate terrain. I mean, yeah, he built this. I mean, it's generated the whole thing, and we like tweaked the height of we tweaked the height of each of the rings, the how thick they were, how big the paths were. Like all of it was tweaked, and then it was generated.
And when you say, explain to everyone what you mean when you say it was generated.
So, Baldrax created a tool, the terrain generator, that if you have the free version of Houdini, which is a program that people use to like make CGI for movies, like when it's like in Inception, right, where the building like wraps in on itself and stuff like that, like massive generation of objects and terrain and stuff. Houdini is used for that. And he built a generator using Houdini where you can create different biomes and things, design it in Houdini, click a button, and it will just make it in Talespire. And his tool also includes like automatically generating like each slab and then piecing it together inside Talespire for you. There's a GitHub link for it. It's absolutely stunning. And this is like an example of it. So really, for any outdoor board like this, it's really like, hey, Udi, do you have time? Or I would find someone who like knows how to use that tool to generate something like this. Because generating this by hand, I mean, you wouldn't, right? So much time and energy.
But no, you can see like the layering and the way this is built. This would take forever. So this is all just automatically generated. That's incredible.
Yeah, and there's more and more folks who are learning how to use that tool, and so I'm expecting to see more of this kind of thing at Tales Tavern. But also Udi, I mean, Udi did all of this stuff by hand. Like, I mean, he built this whole statue by hand, and he built the tree by hand, and he built an alternate version. There's a ritual that happens where the statue gets destroyed, and so there's a component here that when you get here, you can see it here. Where'd it go?
No, that's right. So Anna's noting that, we were just talking about Anna's maps, and she's in the chat. She said she's having a bunch of 3D terrain made and more coming, and be very interesting integration. Completely agree.
Yeah, it's Burning Man. But we built it so that you could cut this out perfectly and then place in the one that's destroyed in its place. And so we do a lot of that kind of thing to make these maps more accessible for GM.
Sure.
More useful. So here's Yester Hill. We published this just not too long ago. And I can show folks what's up and coming. I was really hoping to have it done by today so I could do an announcement that it's done, but it's just I just haven't got to it. And this is by Udi. We're going to take a look at our Ginvishold, which is in this giant list here somewhere. I think it's this top. Maybe not.
Also, while he's doing this, I was going to mention, I've talked about Friday quite a bit, but I don't want to neglect to mention Saturday morning on Jay's channel, Lord Gazumba. Tim will be running his Barbarian game, and I'm a player in that. So we play that 2, 3, 4 times a year, and the ever mysterious Tim is always fun as a DM, and so that'll be happening on Jay's channel on Saturday morning.
Okay, so here's our Ginvishold. The lighting isn't set up to make it look really fancy, but this entire thing is set up with hide volumes. All of the floors are here. And I'm currently in the process of making out the game ready floors. But wait, there's more. I reached out to Brother Hannon. If anybody is friends with Brother Hannon, I hope he's okay. He's been kind of off the radar for like a month or so. I think he's probably just busy. But I reached out to Brother Hannon to see if he could make the silver dragon statue for us, and also up on top of the roof, there's like these big ballista, right? But Baldrax made this. He's like, here, let me try making a silver dragon statue. Oh, by try do you mean make it perfect? Like,
that's awesome.
Try do you mean like make it the most excellent little silver dragon statue ever? So that'll be our centerpiece silver dragon statue, and then here's kind of his prototype for the ballistas that are going to be on top of the roof.
Very cool.
Okay, and if you thought this was fancy, you are in for a freaking treat. I don't know if I have the import link for the dungeon though. I'll have to look in my. Come on now. So here's the first floor. There's the entrance hall. Let me get my build light turned on. Just the level of detail that Udi puts in. I've told people this a lot. I'm glad we asked Udi to do it, because I don't think I would have gone to this much effort. This is so beyond.
Wow.
Anything even that I would have done. I mean, look at like this detail in the walls.
No, it's much better than what you would do, John.
I'm not afraid to say that. Like, I feel like I'm too old to put that much effort in. You know, like.
Yeah, maybe that might not be a bad idea if you could up the exposure just a little bit, so it'd be easier to see.
Yes. Oh, sorry, I haven't been looking at the chat at all.
There we go. Yeah.
Thanks, Heim. Yes, and so my portion of this is breaking it all down. Whoa, there's the beacon. Oh, it's so freaking cool. I don't know if you can see this. Look at this. Like the.
Oh wow! Oh wow.
Yeah, it's cool.
That is cool.
It is excellent. And I think the beacon is going to have its own floor. And so yeah, my challenge is taking this and making it game ready. Like, how do I make that beautiful, solid, structurally sound building like into something that's kind of practical in Talespire? And then where is the most recent castle? I have a version 12 Castle Ravenloft Udi. Is that the one? This is not procedurally generated. This is absolutely like Udi did this all by hand. He placed every single brick in this place.
Yeah, thank you, Udi. You must be the king of patience. And you'll see Talespire on Friday night. We will be using it for our return to the patch one-shot, but we will also be using physical terrain. I've got this gorgeous patch here that was created by Bill the Master Crafter, and he sent it to me last year. We've used it 3 or 4 times now, and it's pretty incredible looking. In fact, I may be able to show that here in a moment, and okay. We'll be using that and fog machines and all that kind of stuff. All right, go ahead.
So here's the upper floors of Castle Ravenloft. It doesn't have a base quite yet. But I mean, it's just insane. I didn't know that like Udi's level of intimate knowledge with this place when I first talked to him. Hang on, there's my build camera. So Talespire struggles. with the ceiling. He played. Look at these floors. Do you see this?
Good grief.
Do you see like
Yeah,
like other people might not understand? Each one of these floors is made of hundreds of individually placed boards. Well, I mean individually. He like did it once and then he
Sure.
pasted it. But I mean, like all of these floors, are to match the module. The designs in these rooms, the perfect spiral staircases is just unbelievable to me. I mean, I was shocked with the exterior walls, the level of detail that was out there. And so once you started heading inside, I was like, I'm very, very humbled by, Baldrax and Udi and the amount of effort that they put into this thing. And then if we get down into the cathedral here.
Good grief. Look at that.
Too. I mean, it's just unreal. And these are the new lights to cast lights on the altar. Sorry if I'm rotating around and you can't see anything. Oh, these pillars. Hey, Udi, do you have an import link for your the dungeons? Because he did a bunch of pillar work in the dungeons. This
is just it kind of underscores one of the things I love about the tool and about the community is so much of this content just gets created and it's available for download, for free. You go to Tales Tavern, you pull this stuff down as a GM, you can have a fully realized environment up and running in minutes. And then because I do like using the physical terrain, but I also like the VTT because it gives you the ability to move so quickly between scenes as well. So I can be one moment, a frosty mountaintop, the next moment in a tavern, next moment in a dungeon, and we can augment theater of mind with these, visual aids that it would be impossible to do that moving back and forth on a physical table.
Oh yeah, I mean the scope of things that you can do in a digital table are just completely different. Castle. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, he just sent me a link for the dungeons. He hadn't sent them to me yet, so we are all seeing this the first time.
Premiere here on Blue Box.
The Undercroft. He sent me some screenshots of his pillars and stuff. Oh, jeez. What? Dude, imagine the fights you could have in here. It's like Moria. What? And then if we actually look at them,
the detail is just insane.
Yeah.
It does have that Moria feel for sure.
Wow. Yeah, get us some good lighting effects on that, John. Let's get the Moria look going.
There's like red. You got the red in there. Are you kidding me? That's crazy. Okay, let me get out of build mode. I'm not quite the master of atmosphere like Astari is.
Like Charles,
I'd be down in here.
And then pull the exposure up.
Drop in some creatures. I don't know, some imps, just to get some light going on. Get our exposure up a little bit.
That is just gorgeous. What he has built
around there. Oh my gosh, this is just crazy. Let's get a human. Someone we can just quasi. We'll get a Stalry's Knight in here. But then, I mean, as we zoom out, you see the scope, right? Like this is.
Yep.
And that is just one of the larger halls. That's not even counting like the side stuff when you get down here into the crypts. Like.
Yeah, worthy place to kill PCs is right.
What is this? What is this room?
Is that what I think it is?
What the hell is this? I don't know what that is.
Those are skulls.
Yeah, he's got all bones.
That's awesome.
I don't know what these rooms are. I don't want to know.
I need that. Send me that.
That's nuts. That is just. You want the whole? I can send you this whole.
Yeah, please. That is just.
That's the thing about a lot of these maps. Even Yester Hill, even like Death House. We didn't even look at Death House, right? You can use them for whatever. It doesn't have to. You don't have to wait for that one time your party finally made their way to the basement of Castle Ravenloft.
No, use it for whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, use it all year long with different groups or chop it up.
Hey, what DM hasn't run a session just based off of a mini that they had, and they wanted to get the same idea here. You get a cool. Come on, Robert, you've never done that. You have not even as a kid. You get a cool mini, and then you get a monster, and then you run an adventure around the miniature.
Remember, as a kid, I had a choice. I could either have the miniatures or I could have the books. So I bought the books, and Theater of the Mind. That's where it started.
Yeah, I mean, you could get like those Grenadier models, and they were cheap, and you could get them in like thrift stores, and I mean, they were just around the game. It was all Theater of Mind as well, but the minis were always fun.
Not if I could find them for really cheap around me, I would have, but no, they were not a thing.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's actually look at we can look at Death House Expanded if you want to. Or we've got 15 minutes left, and I've kind of hit. Oh, I apologize. I do have something that I want to show everybody.
I think Jay said we could go until 8 or 7.
We'll run up.
He's got like 15. He's got 15 minutes of prelude.
Yeah, I like Mikey though. He said that room was an actual model of all of the PCs that I have dispatched of in Blue Box. So this is the spreadsheet that Chaim and I kind of started working from over 2 years ago. Of all of the known Curse of Strahd maps, and by done in this list, I don't know if anybody can see it, and I think this is linked from our Patreon. I mean, you can probably, I don't think I've got it set to anybody can edit, but you can go look at it. If you have permissions to edit it, don't break it. Don't be that guy. But I just wanted to emphasize the fact that it was from our Kickstarter and from our Patreon and from the support of everyone that we were able to make these happen in a reasonable amount of time. The maps that happened today would have taken me over 2 years. Just me. When by doing a Kickstarter and getting support, we're able to hire professional builders and get it done in a matter of months. And so I just wanted to say that likely very soon we will be splitting the Patreon. One Patreon will be for our 5e published adventures, where you only pay like when we publish. The other is going to be probably for YouTube videos, as well as ongoing work like this. What I would love to be able to do is say our Patreon made $300 this month, call up Baldrax and say, Baldrax, how much do you want to make the Vistani camp? And basically to continue working through this list, or to continue working towards whatever maps the community wants, with the funding basically just going to do that. Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of give a shout out for our Patreon and a shout out to any potential starters we might do.
Absolutely, yeah, and you can pop that in the chat as well. And there's always
/DemonGund,
and that we
something different. Oh, also, sorry. Another thing, when we do that split that I just mentioned with the Patreon, anyone who is an existing patron will be able to get in at a promotional Patreon tier for that new one. I think it's going to be something like it's $5 a month to get our Anytime an Adventure PDF is published. But if you get into this special tier that I'm going to make visible and then hide again, it'll be like $3 or something like that. So there is a benefit to becoming a patron now.
Sure.
And that should be happening within the next 2 months.
Excellent.
Salesman off.
No. I've been your patron for quite a while, and it's good content.
Okay, thank you. That's it. I'm good.
All right. Very good. All right. So, what else do you have anything else you want to show us in Talespire before we kind of move to sort of broader topics? Oh, look at that.
I can.
Yeah.
We can go ahead and look at Death House Expanded, just because I know it was very much a product of you. In case folks don't know, John was an incredibly generous supporter of our Kickstarter. John has purchased a run through Death House. Probably it'll be streamed. We don't know when. We wanted to do a Halloween thing, but then like we just got busy, and then you've got the super cool Halloween session planned. I don't know how much people know about it, but it's gonna be rad.
Yeah, it will be. And there'll be some surprises. But yeah, no. So we are going to do that hopefully in the new year. We're going to. We'll open this up on our Discord. We'll get members of our community. I'll play as well. John will DM it and run us through the Death House as a game with probably 2 sessions, 3 sessions, something like that.
It'll knock your socks off. So really, this is the point that John's been trying to make forever. This is the original Death House. I don't know if you can see it very well. I think you can. Yeah. This is the expanded version. So much bigger, much more opportunity for combat, much more opportunity to like move your tokens around without things bumping around. And overall, I think it's like the defining product of we've been doing this for several years and we know how to do it better now.
Right.
So we redid Death House.
Well, and to the point that you're making there, I want to make sure that everyone catches this. So many of the Talespire early builds, and even some of the ones I see today, they're beautiful, and they're built to scale from the original maps or modules, but it's not very practical for the camera angles and for the combat and the minis. So I've really been asking to have these maps, all these models built basically 2x. So a 10-foot square is really a 20-foot square in Talespire so that there's room for the GM to move the cameras around and get the right angles and the minis and whatnot. And that's what's been done here. It's fantastic.
It was a lot of work, but I mean, it felt so good to get it done. Because, I would watch, Death House is easily the most popular map that we've ever done. And so watching the streams where you hear people actually say like, oh, I can't get my height slider right, or like, I can't move my tokens. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Yep.
Trying to think if there's anything else. There's Death House. We're going to run that when we do. Patreon, Kickstarter stuff. Oh, I can look at my notepad.
While you're doing that, I'm going to real quickly here. Yeah. Show... this is the part of the physical terrain board. Bill the Master Crafter created this, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. We debuted it last year, and you'll be seeing it again. This is where the Overgord resides. So very cool.
That's awesome. Dude, the grass. I love the grass and the dirt on there.
Yeah, and he like the water effects and that was a quick
water. What is that?
It's like a resin. Bill's in the chat. He could probably tell us exactly.
Like pours resin.
Yeah, Bill, how do you make the water? Everybody comments on that when they see it. And tomorrow night I'll have the right angles and the right lighting for it. That was just a quick view for those of you that haven't seen that before. It's just absolutely gorgeous.
We do have a couple of upcoming projects. So we were just finishing our fourth 5th edition adventure, which was like the biggest mistake ever in design. It was like the greatest, it's a good idea at the time. We wrote an adventure around Talespire, in that Talespire has this water plane, right? And we have a water plane. What can we do with a water plane? Well, let's just do the water temple from Ocarina of Time. Let's just do that. And so there's an adventure where there's a under sewer ziggurat where they flip a switch and it lowers the water level, and then it lowers the water level, and it works great in Talespire, no problem. But with the 5th edition PDF, you have to convert that to 2D for people who don't have Talespire. Never should have done that. Oh man, so now we know. But in finishing up that adventure, we're hoping to actually write some new ones that are actually like a story arc, maybe like 2 or 3 adventures that make a story arc. And so we will likely be doing a Kickstarter for the first one of those. And then we're also kicking around this idea of like a big bad book of bosses. And doing a Kickstarter for that would just have like 20 cool bosses. Maybe we have a stretch goal where we have someone who like makes the custom models for us. If we could get Mammoth Factory to make our models, I would be so excited. But that's just touching on hopefully some upcoming Kickstarter stuff that might be
Very cool.
end of the year, January.
Yeah, make sure you pop that in our Discord as well when you get that up and running. I'm looking at that model behind your notepad there. That's just gorgeous. No, Bill, you're not going to be put out to pasture. There's a place. Hey, there is a place for theater of mind. There's a place for physical terrain and tabletops, and there's a place for VTTs. These things are augmenting. They are not exclusive, and we will always want to have the cool physical stuff. And he said it was resin and dyes that he used to make that water. It looks super cool.
I have a YouTube video that's like how to run a game. It's like the worst named YouTube video that has ever been put on YouTube. It's like how to run a game in Talespire, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But in it, I'm very clear about when to use Talespire. You know, if you're playing Vampire the Masquerade and your character is at a diner, you don't need Talespire for that. You don't need anything for that. Like it's in fact, most of Vampire, you don't need a tabletop at all. And when you're writing your adventure and you're planning your session, and I'm always looking from like a streaming perspective, know what scenes are going to need a tool like Talespire. Know what scenes are appropriate to use with physical tokens. So like the stuff that you can kind of do where it's like they're having a street battle, where they're not going to go 300 yards in one direction or another. That's totally awesome to have physical minis for, and probably easier to have physical minis than to do something in Talespire. So yeah, there is no one medium is going to kill another medium. You need to bone up on your skill of knowing when to use the right tool.
That's exactly right. And ultimately, you know, the one that's irreplaceable is theater of mind, because you can not have anything and you can play a great game with theater of mind, and the other pieces then are just an augmentation to it. But without that, without the narrative descriptions, I've often lamented, I've seen this done in other streams, whether it's physical terrain or it's a VTT, and the DM says, "This is what you see." Right, and there's no DM narrative. There's no ambiance. There's the sense, the smells, the ambience of the room. The descriptions that you bring with theater of mind should be something that's layered on top of your VTT or your physical terrain, not a well, here, look at the screen. That's what you see. No, that's not. Yeah. I don't like that.
I think it also.
I think it's even worse when they don't even say that. They just assume you're looking at the screen.
Yeah.
They don't even bother to say this is what you see.
Yeah.
Okay. It really depends on the group too. You know, if you're a bunch of teenagers and you're all, you know, fine at doing that kind of thing and you're still having fun, right? I think my perspective's a little bit skewed because of the presentation aspect of it. Like thinking about there's just getting together to play D&D, and then there's the next step of like, I want to run a super high quality professional session where that extra bit really makes the difference. But I'm not gonna be down on a group that can still have a ton of fun without that extra stuff.
No, I'm just being elitist.
Yeah. As long as you're clear about
I could do that if I want to. It's my show.
That's why I like you. You're very like, you got it, man.
Shocking revelations here on Learn Messages.
Right.
Hey, easy there, Robert. No piling on the DM.
I mean, my job here is to get a zing at least one.
At least one zing, yes. And John's been running the show, so you haven't been able to zing me, and I haven't zinged you. But no, in the chat, you guys have it correct, and I think
Robert's got my back on a.
Yeah, there's just so much more to creating that sense of immersion and ambiance than just what the eyes see, and so that's why I think that the DM narration, adding those other elements to the physical terrain or to the VTT is great for story. Thank you, Mike. John is right. John is always right. That's number one rule of LMA.
Udi and I go back and forth.
Which John?
It's kind of it actually kind of leads into a conversation we were having about like these upcoming VTTs and what they offer, right? Where I like RPG stories. I love the people that are developing RPG stories. I think they're going to do great. They're very user focused. I think compared to something like Menure, which the presentation and how Menure looks is unbelievable. But you know, if RPG Stories is trying to be more like Roll20, where their focus is on accessibility, not necessarily on being like the best presentation you can possibly have, a lot of folks are going to have a lot of fun in it. But it just dials back the realism in your VTT. And so what am I trying to say? Udi and I had a conversation where he was like, I kind of like RPG stories more because it looks less real. Like his players are going to be more inclined to accept it as a representation of what's happening versus exactly what's happening. Whereas something with Menhir, if you see a stick on the ground in Menhir, your player's probably going to think that there's an actual stick there.
Yeah, and I've had that happen even at times with Talespire, where you've got a model, and that model maybe has details that are not actually present in your game or in your room, and you have to, that's not actually there. It's cool to look at, but Menhir, man, the weather effects, and it's crazy looking. Make it work on a Mac, please. Yes. It's just silly. Hey, easy on the viewers there, Rob. Take your shots at me, not at the viewers, bro.
I'm referring to the ones who say you're always right.
What do you say?
Yeah.
Silly viewers.
Yes, I said savvy and he said silly. Well, remember that, viewers. This is why Robert is wrong, especially when it comes to the alignment of an anti-paladin.
By wrong, you mean absolutely correct.
If you were right, I would agree with you. All right, so we're gonna wrap up here in just a moment. But John, any final thoughts? Anything you'd like us to know about your projects, or anything at all?
Oh, what do I have to say? It'll be really nice to get this batch of stuff done for the Kickstarter. We learned a lot. Heading into next year, we really hope that folks come out and rally to support us again for the next big thing. Just remember, all of the stuff this is all free. This is all a bit separate than our PDF publication and stuff. Like all the Curse of Strahd stuff made by the community that was paid for by the Kickstarters at Tales Tavern for absolutely free.
Yep.
That's kind of the blessing and curse of Talespire maps is that,
Yeah.
What other stuff? Just thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate having another soapbox, a taller soapbox than my own.
No, absolutely, and thanks for joining us. And you're a sharp guy with great content, and thank you again for running the Talespire in the background at Virtual Greyhawk Con. That was just so much fun, and I
was shocked. To be honest, you were like, "Hey, can you run this thing for me on Thursday?" And I think you might have mentioned it was for the convention or whatever, but it didn't sink in until we were there. And you're like, here are all these epic people, OG from the before times community of roleplay. I was like, hey, what? I thought it was just the normal standard group of folks. I didn't realize it was an event.
Yeah.
Sweating.
Yeah. Well, and
yeah.
I've got my fingers crossed. Alexander, as Antiquitous in the chat, he gave me a contact that I've reached out to this week. OG creator of so much of the old D&D stuff, including a lot of the stuff written for Dark Sun, and I'm going to hopefully get him on LMA here very soon. And I do want to see more builds. Talk about the maps I want to see. I want to see Athos. I want to see the Athasian landscape.
Dark Sun map Kickstarter.
Yes,
it'd be so great to be the opposite of Barovia, which is dark and rainy and gothic. So,
yes.
It's just some marble pillars in the sand.
That's it, and I want Dragon King tokens in Talespire. The dragons, the sorcerer, they were very unique, and they had a kind of a cool look to them, different than typical dragons. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
The first Dark Sun adventure, you're in one of those big sand crawlers or whatever,
yep.
A slave. So adventure number 1 would be build a giant sand crawler.
You heard it here first.
With the chariots and stuff, with the Thrycreen.
Yeah,
Man, that'd be so great.
Absolutely. And why no one had ever thought of half dwarves before? The mule, there's such a cool. I love dwarves, and therefore I love mule. They're
Psionics at the time, people either really thought it was cool or hated it, along with blade dancers. But
yeah, I think
they were very divisive.
Yeah, they were, and I think psionics, in general, I didn't like psionics too much in the typical sort of Middle Earth trope or medieval style. It felt out of place to me, but it's so perfectly fit for Dark Sun. I love the psionic element in Dark Sun. So anyway, you'll see more of that in our chat. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to raid here. Robert, any final thoughts? about how right I have been all night tonight, or anything at all.
Wait, you actually want me to say something?
Hey, don't blame me. John's the one that talked all night.
Bad for Robert, but
I'm talking about how right you are. I mean,
all right. Maybe that's asking a little too much, huh?
how Robert could even get in at all without actually having a button to mute us is just how do we expect?
It's so true.
no, I mean, I'm just gazing at the maps. I mean, I'm talking about Castle Ravenloft and such. I mean, I go back to the days of running the original and scaring the hell out of my players, and and going back to all theater of the mind, because that was it. I'd give them, if I was being kind, I would give them like a really quick peek at the map and then close.
Right. Oh, well, good stuff. So I want to say thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you again, John, for coming on. Don't miss our special one-shot on Friday night with, oh gosh, look at that. That is so pretty. Don't miss our special one-shot on Friday night with Art of Mike Disney, featuring the Overgord as we return to the patch. That'll be 5:30 Central Time on Friday, and then I will be on Jay's channel Saturday morning with the ever-mysterious Tim. And yes, Rob is the silent Bob here, Jay. Yeah,
And we're doing the board for the Friday one, right?
Yes.
That's the one?
Yep. So I'll be using the Fiending Mire, which I used last year as well, and then the one you're working on, and then the physical board that I have here. So it should be really, really fun. But thank you, everyone. Thank you for all the new followers. We're honing in on 2,000. We do want to ask you a question, though, if you're watching tonight and you haven't followed, or if you're a follower who has not subbed, or if you're a sub whose sub has expired and you have not resubbed, we have one question for you here at Blue Box. What are you doing? Come on, give us a follow, give us a sub. I expect we'll go over 2,000 on Friday night, and that'll be a lot of fun. We'll do some special giveaways, and we appreciate all the support from the community. And now I'm going to get ready to kick off our raid of Lord Guzumba. And with that said, thank you, everyone. We really appreciate the support, and we'll see you Friday night. Raiding into Jay in 3, 2, 1, and now.
There we go.